Happy Mother's Day. As a mom of two boys, we all love to get into things that our kids are into. So I thought I would start today by showing you some memes. Now, if you don't know what a meme is, it's like a modern day comic strip that is funny and uses pop culture, and they spread virally all through social media and the internet. So I had my kids help me pick out 3 really funny memes that are super relatable to us parents. The first one is from the movie Taken. Liam Neeson, you can see on this. He says, "I don't know who gave my child a whistle, but I will find you and I will kill you." I think we've all been there. Please do not give our children whistles, noisemakers of any kind. The second one is from our family's favorite TV show, The Office. And this is Michael Scott, and it says, "This is serious. Are you listening to me?" Roar! Of course. Our kids always know how to test our patience when we're serious, right? And the final one is from the movie Beauty and the Beast. It's an iconic scene with the Beast, and this is how it goes. "How I feel when my kids won't eat my food." Say it with me. "Then go ahead and starve." Fortunately, our kids belong to God first, and they drive us crazy. But today we're going to be looking at a passage where we're talking about, how do I raise the children God has entrusted to me without losing my mind, right? Because the definition of motherhood is nobody noticing what you do until you don't do it. Right? Today we're looking at one of the stories in the Bible where Mary, the mother of Jesus, is still parenting Jesus. So let's go in our Bibles to Luke 2, starting in verse 41. So Mary, Joseph, Jesus, and their whole family is on their way to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. And this was like a week-long big celebration, big family vacation. And this story is the only story in the Bible we have about Jesus when he was a kid. He was only 12 years old in this story. So we're going to start in verse 41. Every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up to the festival according to the custom. And after the festival was over, so a week has gone by, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Mary was entrusted with the Son of God. Imagine the pressure. And I can picture Mary, like many of us parents, when in the middle of a family vacation, we're so consumed with all the packing and the to-do lists and the travel plans that something gets missed. Like when you go to the beach and you're hauling all of this stuff to the beach and inevitably you forget one thing in the car, right? Mary and Joseph lost the Son of God. So here's what we can learn from this. It's super relatable to us as parents. Give yourself grace in the face of mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable, especially as we're parenting. And this mistake wasn't just like a little whoops, like leaving your glasses behind. This was leaving a human being. And not just any human being, a child. And not just any child, but the Son of God. Look at verse 43. The boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. Can you imagine? This wasn't just a few hours. This was an entire day had gone by, and they had not realized that Jesus was missing. Have you ever lost someone or been lost yourself? I know one time when I was in junior high, and we went to Magic Mountain. It was our family and our cousins and my aunt and uncle. And I remember while we were there, theme parks, aren't you thankful that we're opening back up? We can go back to theme parks. We were at Magic Mountain, and I remember I got lost. I was with no one. I was nowhere to be found. I was probably about 13 years old. And if you were a kid watching or a teenager watching, back then, we did not have cell phones. Meaning I could not call my mom and say, "Hey mom, where are you?" Or I couldn't text them and say, "Where are you at?" I was completely lost. So back then, what you would do if a student was lost is child services would come and take them to the lost and found area. And then paging the entire park, someone would come over the loudspeaker and say, "Sue Bicknell, worst parent of the year. Your child has been lost and is at child services. Please come and pick them up." Can you imagine? Can we all agree that mistakes are inevitable? Yes. And that's why this next point is so important. Because we don't just need grace for ourselves, we have to extend grace to others. I truly believe that every mom, every dad is doing the best that they can. And in our toughest mom moments, we all need all the grace we can get. When we have to abandon our shopping cart in the grocery store because our kid is throwing a tantrum. Or when we have to take the long walk to the principal's office when our teenager is caught fighting at school. Or we have to experience the shame of looking on the social media and seeing something our child posted or tweeted. Give others the same grace that you need. I've always thought it's funny. I remember when I was first pregnant and I'm showing the baby bump and you've got the cute shirt and everyone is so kind and so attentive and they open the door for you and you walk through, and they ask you, "Are you okay? Can I get you anything? Can I do anything for you?" If you were pregnant, you remember that, right? People were extra thoughtful and kind. "Oh, you're carrying a child." But then 9 months later, when that baby is out, and you're showing up to those same places with a snotty-nosed child and spit up on your shirt and your hair is disheveled, do you get the same welcome grace? "Oh, what can I do for you?" No, usually those graceful comments have turned into eye rolls, looks of like, "How could you dress your child like that? How could you leave the house like that?" We need as much love and attention after the child comes than while we're carrying the child. But looking back in our story, they have realized that they can't find Jesus. In verse 44, then they began looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. And after 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." Yes, you heard that right. 3 days until they found him. And can you picture how tense the situation was? It wasn't like turning back to find him was as simple as like loading up the car and driving back. No. They had walked for an entire day, meaning that it was a day out. They realized they lost Jesus, a day back walking, and then a day looking for him. And they finally found him. I can picture Mary. The walk was so hard, and as she gets up to Jesus, she is walking up to him and she says, "Why have you treated us this way?" Or, "How could you do this to me?" Have you ever said that to your child before? I know I have. Which is why part of grace is to learn to not take my kids' choices personally. When I was in high school, I was dating this guy my junior, the beginning of my senior year, and we were in love. And then we broke up, and I was heartbroken. And I'll say I was actually a really good kid. Not to like toot my own horn, but I didn't give my parents too much trouble. I never really got in a lot of trouble or did a lot of things I wasn't supposed to do. My mom says to me today, I ended up pretty lucky with you kids. But in high school, we broke up and I was a little heartbroken and I was feeling a little bit like my senior year. And then my ex-boyfriend started dating another girl a couple months later. And so then I was feeling extra jaded. And so I decided, against my mother's request, that on my 18th birthday, I would get a piercing because I was now an adult. And my mom had told me at one point, if you ever get a tattoo or a piercing, you are not welcome in my home anymore. I don't know if she actually said that, but it felt that way. It was that intense. She did not want us to get those things. But I got a piercing, and I got it in my belly button. And let me say to those of you that may be watching that are younger and desiring to get a belly button ring, it's super cute when you're 18 years old or 25 years old. But when you're pregnant and you're having children, suddenly that belly button ring isn't that cute anymore. So I would encourage you, really think about, do I really want this 20 years from now? Because you probably won't. But I still remember my mom. She gave me such grace when she found out, finally discovered. I thought I could keep it from her forever. When she finally discovered that I got my belly button pierced, I was like mortified. And I thought she was going to be so disappointed. She didn't make it about her. She didn't make it about how I let her down and ruined her parenting and how could I do that with her as my parent. I made a stupid choice. A legal choice. It was totally fine, but one that I look back, I'm like, that was stupid. That was a waste of $100 and my belly button. She was so graceful to me. I was still grounded for 2 weeks, but that's to be expected. You see, sometimes our kids' choices have nothing to do with us or how good or bad of a job of parenting we have done. Because kids, teenagers, adults, we all make choices, right? Good and bad. And the same can be true about their successes. You see, parents can take too much credit for their kids' positive choices and too much blame for their negative ones. Are you wondering the same as me as about how Jesus responded to his mom? I think it was so great how he responded, and it showed us his wisdom even at this age. He said, "Why were you searching for me?" He asked, "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he was saying to them. Then he went down to Nazareth with them and was obedient. Thank God, every parent's prayer. He was obedient to them. But his mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. Isn't that powerful? What Jesus' perspective teaches us this next point, that as parents, we have to have a long-term perspective for our kids. You see, this situation was a great reminder to Mary and Joseph of what Jesus' ultimate purpose was, who his real father was. And your child's greatest mistakes or setbacks could be the setup for their greatest success. There was this woman named Joanna Stevens, and she went to college, but she decided the degree she had gotten wasn't for her, so she moved back home. And when she was back home, she started working in her dad's tire shop in Texas. It was a Firestone tire shop. He owned it. He had worked hard to become the business owner of the tire shop, and she worked there. And his desire was for his daughter to take over the business that he had worked so hard to build. But she said, "Dad, I don't think this is what I want to do with my life. I think I want to do something a little more creative." And I can picture the dad being a little disappointed and thinking, "Oh gosh, can't you see what like don't worry about what you want to do. Like, this is a great opportunity. This is a great offer, right?" So she decided, she met someone, got married, and she decided she wanted to start a design business. So she started doing design work. And she, after having a couple children, she made the decision that many moms decide to make, which is, I'm going to set my dreams and my career aside, and I'm going to raise my kids. So for 10 years, her shop that wasn't super successful was closed. And she spent time raising her kids, having more children. And then finally in 2014, she decided now's the time to reopen. And we're not just going to do design, but my husband's got a knack for tools, and so he can do construction. So we'll do design and we'll do construction. And don't you know that little shop in Texas today is known as Magnolia Market by Chip and Joanna Gaines. And annually their revenue is $102 million. Now, do you think that dad is disappointed that his daughter didn't follow in his footsteps? Probably not. He's probably super proud that she followed what she thought she was supposed to do. And so we have to encourage our children to discover their unique gifting. Call out what they do well. It's so amazing to see our kids light up when they hear others notice what their natural gifts are. When I tell my son Russell, you are so creative and you're so crafty and oh, you are such an amazing artist and you're so smart and funny. And I tell my son Shane, you are so fast and you are so tender-hearted. And I see that you care so much for people and for animals and others' feelings. We can see this with Jesus. Even at the age of 12, Luke 47, everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. Jesus had a passion and gifting for teaching and preaching the word of God, and they could see it even at the age of 12. I have to be careful about telling my kids what I want them to be, but focus them on following their passion and following their unique gifts. Because I need to be more concerned about who God wants my kids to be than who I want them to be. I want to highlight another verse that actually serves as our guide in kids ministry here at Newbreak. And it's in Luke 2:52, and it says, "And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man." Our kids teams are passionate about helping your children grow in their wisdom and stature and favor. We want to help them grow intellectually, that's wisdom. We want to help them grow in physically, that's stature. We want to help them in their relationships, that's with man. And we want to help grow them spiritually, that's with God. And that's why 2 Corinthians is so important. 2 Corinthians 4:18 says, "So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." So what do we see? What's the things we see? We see dirty diapers, and we see temper tantrums, and we see mood swings, and we see poor life choices, or we see good grades. But what is unseen is character, heart, impact in other people's lives, kindness, their eternity. So what are we investing in? Verse 49 also translated as Jesus saying to his parents, "I must be about my Father's business." When you have a kid that's excited about their relationship with God, you foster it, you encourage it, you support it, not just by bringing them to church or by buying them books and Bible studies, but paying for them to go to camp and investing in them, not just with their time, but also with your finances. USA Today wrote an article saying that if your child is involved in club sports, annually that can cost you anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000. We also spend money on tutoring. SAT prep courses are over $1,000. Or maybe they're in some other activity, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, and those are all wonderful things that build their character, that build their life skills, that build their relationship skills. But have you invested financially in their relationships with God and with other believers? One of the things we do here is we do something called family camp. And I will tell you, it is an expensive camp to go to. But you're going to spend the same amount of money to take your family to Hawaii or take your family on a trip to, Florida to see Disney World or you'll probably spend the same amount of money on Disneyland tickets. But can you imagine investing that money into a week where you are together as a family, worshiping God together through worship, that you're doing Bible studies in the morning and in the afternoon. You're growing spiritually as a parent and as a couple. Your kids are growing spiritually as they're around other fellow believers. Imagine the eternal investment. Or you have a teenager and you look at that price tag for camp and you see $400. You're like, we couldn't possibly do that. How much did you spend on your students' sports equipment this last year? I guarantee you're investing financially in your children and in your students. but are you investing in them spiritually? That they would have spiritual God moments and God encounters. Powerful things happen at camps. There's something about getting away and having time with God that is always worth the investment. And whether you're a grandma or a grandpa or an aunt or an uncle, you too can be a part of investing in a student, in a grandchild, in a nephew, in a niece, bringing them to church, paying for them to go to camp, paying them to go to this event. You can have that kind of investment. So what are you investing in? Getting back to our story ends with this interesting moment, and it serves as a great reminder to us as parents, which is treasure each season I am in. Look with me at verse 51. But his mother treasured all these things in her heart. The scripture said she didn't understand Jesus' response, but later she treasured all these things in her heart. And I wonder what that looked like. Like, was she doing the dishes, or making the meal, or cleaning up the meal, or sweeping the floor? And she was just thinking, am I doing a good job? I am doing a good job. I'm doing a good job. I'm enough. He's doing great. That was terrible, but this is good. This is good. I can keep going. I can keep going. Have you had those conversations with yourself? As parents, we have good days and we have bad days. Don't miss being parent for each and every moment. I wonder how much we rob ourselves of the joy of each moment because we're either reminiscing of what we've lost or what's now gone, or we're striving for what's ahead. Because before we have kids, we can hardly wait to have kids. And now once we've got kids, we can hardly wait till they're grown. And once they're grown, we miss having them around. When they are little, we can't miss it. We can never go back, and we can't go forward. Time will stand still, and we have to keep focusing. Parenting babies is hard and wonderful. Parenting toddlers is hard and wonderful. Parenting elementary students is hard and wonderful. Parenting teenagers is hard and wonderful. And parenting adults is hard and wonderful. And what I hear, parenting grandbabies is just wonderful. If you're a grandparent, you know what I mean. Each phase is both hard and wonderful. So whatever season you are in, treasure it. The good and the bad. Rejoice in the victories and laugh and sigh through the failures. Enjoy the chaos and the clutter of a home filled with little kids because it won't be there forever. One day your china closet will be organized and clean, and every countertop will be clear and dusted, and all the shoes will be on the shoe rack, all the dishes will be done. But it'll just be you, and maybe just you and your spouse, and the kids will be off living their own adult lives, building their own families and memories. I think caring for kids is a lot like caring for plants. You see, we wish caring for kids was more like caring for a succulent, right? You just kind of had to water it every so often and it would be good. And it'll flower when it flowers. It'll just keep on living no matter how much attention you give it. But I think parenting is a little more like caring for an orchid. An orchid is super delicate. It requires the right amount of water and attention and time in the sun. It needs not too much sun, but not enough sun. And you have to make sure that there's enough soil, the right soil. Then once it blooms, you have to repot it. And forgive me, I am terrible at caring for plants. I hope that doesn't speak to my parenting ability. But like caring for the orchid, our parenting requires consistency, patience, thoughtfulness, persistence. Mom, you are enough. You are seen. Whether your spouse sees or your children recognize, God sees. And He is delighted with you, flaws and all. So for all of us today, I want to encourage you. Commit to praying for all the moms that you know, that you have in your life. And maybe not just those you know, but those that are in your neighborhood. Those that you see struggling, pray for them. When you see that mom struggling in the store with her toddler, pray for her. Maybe even help her. Second, find ways to bless and encourage them. Maybe help that mom who's struggling in the store, or give that mom a night out and say, hey, can we watch your kids for you? Right now, babysitters are so hard to find because everyone's hired already. Offer to care for someone else's kids. And for moms, be encouraged today. Know that God called you to be a mom to the kids that you have, and you are perfect for them. And know that His grace never runs out, and you can't outrun it. And know that He is smiling down on you with joy as He watches you parent your kids. God bless you today. I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day.